Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Patricia Monna, Intuitive Consulting. Today I have the lovely Susan Reynolds with me again for the predictions of June 2025. Thanks so much for joining me, Susan. How have you been?
I've been good. Always a pleasure to be here. Always exciting to see how we match and because as we've mentioned many times, we don't talk about it ahead of time. So we come at it from two different places, but somehow we get to the same place. Yeah.
You too. Energy, and it's all about energy, right? So
Yeah.
that's
Truth is
great.
truth.
So I'll let you go first today because I know that you've got a lot that you want to say too.
June, very, very exciting astrological month. A lot going on there.
Hmm.
One of the things that I mentioned in January is that this year is very exciting because we have so many planets moving into new signs and doing new things. And
Hmm.
we had one Neptune changed in March. This past month in May, Saturn changed. And now in June, we have Jupiter change. And that's a big deal. This past year, Jupiter has been in Gemini. But now on June 10th, it is going to move into Cancer. And that's a big deal. It will stay in Cancer until the spring of 2026.
Oh.
So once it moves into the sign, it's going to be there and stay there for a year, for a long time. And we're going to notice that. We are going to notice this energy, especially, I don't know if I should say this, especially Canada and the United States, because the sun sign for Canada and the sun sign for the United States is Cancer, both of them.
Mm.
So we're going to see this in our nation. We're going to see this in ourselves. We're going to see this new energy show up in our lives. And it's not like these other planets that are changing. They're only putting their big toe in. This planet, Jupiter's going whole hog. It's going to go from 0 to like 23, 24 degrees. So it's not putting its big toe in. It's getting in there and going to stay and worm in there a while. So we are going to notice, number one, that we're all a bit more emotional
Mm.
because Cancer it's a water sign and it's a sign of our emotions. So most of us may find ourselves being a little bit more sensitive to things. We react to things that maybe we wouldn't a few months ago. Well, they invited me last. Are they mad at me? Did I offend them? Did I do something? Just that super sensitivity to everything. I know my spouse said happy birthday, but had a different tone in his voice this time. You know,
Yeah.
maybe he didn't give me a present. Did I upset him? Did I make him mad? We can just make something out of nothing when Jupiter is in Cancer. We get sensitive about everything. Now, Cancer is the sign of motherhood, and Cancer is very fertile. So, for those of you who may be dealing with infertility, you may be trying a new treatment. You may be finding a new doctor. You may be hearing about a new, I don't know, drug or procedure or something. But what we're also going to see is nations, not just Canada and the US, but nations all over the world are going to start talking about their birth rate. They're
Mm.
going to start talking about, the older generation is supposed to be supported by the younger generation, but the younger generation isn't having enough kids, and we need to up the birth rate or low birth rate. Or we're going to start hearing a lot about this in the months and the year ahead. So I don't look at that as a bad thing. I don't know how to say this. I hope this is okay to say. If you're a young girl, if you're a teenager, and you have a boyfriend, if you are engaging in any kinds of sexual activity,
Mhm.
this is a very fertile period, just so you know.
Yeah, be
So I
careful.
don't care how romantic that moment is,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
need to be extra careful. Jupiter expands. Cancer is fertile. You do the math. You do not have to be a genius astrologer to figure that out.
Hmm.
Now, if you want to expand your family, great. This is a lovely time to be doing that. But if you're not ready for motherhood, then you need to take precaution. You need to think about that.
For sure.
This is also the sign that deals with food. So we are all going to start thinking about our weight more.
Mm.
In the United States, we're kind of known as like the fattest nation in the world. I
Hmm.
don't say that proudly, but I say it honestly. We are consumed with thinness because we're a rich nation, and eating junk and eating food that's bad for you is very much a part of the United States culture. I hope it's a little better in Canada, but we may see new diet fads. We may see new diet drugs come out. We may see a whole lot of people trying to get on drugs to lose weight that have nothing to do with what they were meant to do.
Can I say so as you know, I just got back from a Mediterranean cruise and we went to Turkey, we went to Greece, and we went to Italy. And I have to agree with you. I did not see obese people there. And I pointed it out to my husband. I said, "Oh my God, look around. Look how beautiful these people are and how healthy they look. Like you could even see a glow in their skin." And I don't know if it was, the Mediterranean, being by the Mediterranean Sea or the sun or whatever. I'm telling you, they looked a lot more peaceful and a lot healthier than the people that I see in Canada or the States. So, yeah, just an observation since I got back there, but you're right.
It's going to start coming up on a personal level, like it just did for you, on a national level, on an international level.
Yeah.
This may come up with additives in food. It may come up with the connection of big business to food. You know, Big business has a lot to do with the food supply, but
Hmm.
they want to make money where we want to be healthy.
Yeah.
So there's two different agendas at stake here. We may see an outbreak of something, E. coli or salmonella or this or that. And that's this Jupiter in Cancer. We're all going to be taking a look at our diet. What do we need to cut out? What do we need to do? What is going to help us get healthy and stay healthy? This is also an energy of home and family. When Jupiter goes into a sign, it tends to expand the qualities. Hence, me talking about fertility and birth rate. This is a time, I don't know if you run into a lot of this, Patricia. This is one of the few times when what astrology is logically telling me and what I'm intuitively feeling are at odds.
Oh, I've had
Because
that.
logically, Jupiter expands and makes things bigger,
Hmm.
which is why I said I see grocery prices going up. But
Hmm.
since it deals with real estate, logically, real estate prices are going up. But intuitively, it doesn't feel like that's happening. Intuitively, it feels like I think we're going to see some sort of decrease in housing.
It's
Do you
funny
pick
you
up anything
say
about
that.
that?
It's so crazy you say that. My husband, he works, he works for a big electrical company here in Calgary, and he's been in it for 30 years. So, I mean, he's watched the waves of the markets and everything. And we just got our property tax bill. It doubled in the past 2.5 years. It's doubled. So I was shocked and I said, "Well, then the prices of the houses are going up." And he said, "No, we're getting ready to slow down." He goes, "No, we're getting ready to slow down." And it just didn't make sense to me either because they say that the markets are hot, but no, I agree with you. My husband agrees with you.
Tell them thank you.
Yeah, it does
So,
feel like
yeah,
it's going to hit a lull. Yeah.
we may see some part of this where stuff is high and stuff is low at the same time. Your taxes on your real estate are high and the market is slowing down and getting low. I think we're going to see some weird things come out in terms of housing. I don't know what's going on in Canada, but the United States, every time I turn around, they're building more apartments and the rents are outrageous.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who's renting these apartments?
Hmm.
So I definitely see the housing market being a little crazy, not to get too technical, but it may be a little all over the place. So I'm going to say just keep watching. Don't do anything impulsively. We're
Yeah.
going to see some major things going on there. Doesn't have to be bad. It really depends on where this is going to fall in your chart. You know,
Good point.
um, if it's in your fourth house, which deals with real estate, lots of times I will see people get some sort of deal on a house they couldn't afford, or they fall into some sort of fabulous thing. So
Yeah.
it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a little discombobulated and mixed up. And so
Yeah.
I'm glad you have a husband who can explain that to you and to me.
Yeah, yeah, he said it's slowing down, and he's been right every time that he has said things like that. So, yeah, I think that that is going to happen. But you're right, even where it lands, are you the buyer or are you the seller? That matters. Where are you at what point are you in your story, right? Because you might get that once in a lifetime amazing foreclosure deal, but you also might be the person that just lost the home in a foreclosure, right? So,
It's a little bit more black and white, but this time it's just a little bit too all over the place. And I've been doing this long enough to where I'm paying attention. When I get that tap on the shoulder intuitively, I'm like, I don't think this is the whole story here.
yeah.
So we're going to see quite a bit going on in both of our countries because it's going to affect the Cancer Sun in Canada in a similar way than it's going to affect the United States. Both of us, our countries, have their birthday in July. For us, it's July 4th, and sadly, I cannot remember what it is for Canada.
July
I know
1st.
they're Cancer,
Yeah, July 1st.
right next to each other,
Oh,
very, very close.
like
So I'm going to say,
seriously.
and I know in Canada, the person that you wanted to be elected was not the candidate that was elected. But I will say, I was talking to a friend the other day, and I said, that Mark Carney, he needs to send Trump a muffin basket or something because that's the reason he won.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It's totally the reason that he
Yeah.
won. And here's the crazy thing about remote viewing, because I did remote view and looked into the election. What I saw was Pierre Poilievre standing at the podium wearing his black tie, blazer, everything that he was wearing, and his wife in the purpley pink dress with his right arm around her shoulder, and he's waving to the crowd. And so I automatically thought, I'm looking at his success speech, his
Mhm.
acceptance speech. No, I was looking at the concession speech, right? So this is how you don't fully know until afterwards, because I did not see Carney winning at all. But you know what? They did it in a really, really slimy way too, where it put a bad taste in a lot of Canadians' mouths, because you know what they did on the ballot box um of Pierre Poilievre's writing,
Mhm.
they had 91 people on the ballot. They supersaturated the ballot with
Oh
liberal.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
91 liberal candidates in that area. That's like, not only is that slimy and, you know, BS, they, who paid for that? Because each of those 91 people had to pay, I heard it was 75,000, but someone told me it was 150,000 for their name to just even be on the ballot. So who funded
Wow.
all of that? You know, who funded all of that in order for that to happen? Because those 91 people knew that they weren't an actual contender, but it split it up enough that he even lost his own seat in his own riding. Like, it was just crazy what happened. Now, seeing the word crazy, that is what I want to kind of even say about the energy that we're going into for the second half, because now we're entering the second half of the year. And the first top of the year, yes, there have been this, yes, there's been this, but I said from the beginning, 2025, the top half, it's going to be okay. It feels like it's the bottom half of 2025 that's going to get crazy, that's going to get spicy. And I feel the energy of fire. So, and I've spoken about that before, and yes, it's an energy, but how that shows up in our reality is it forest fires? Is it earthquakes? And when I was on the ocean on that Mediterranean cruise, our boat was right over top of the 6.0 to 6.3 um, uh, earthquake that happened between Crete and Rhodes in Turkey. I was there, I was on it, and it rocked the boat a bit, but I just thought it was a rocky night at sea. I didn't know that we were literally sitting on top of an earthquake. But the energy of it, I didn't know we were on top of an earthquake, right? But that night stood out to me because of the energy of it. it had that very fiery, angry, oppressive, weird energy. That night stood out to me. And I found out the next day, I had a client email me, "Are you okay? Just heard that there was an earthquake, a huge earthquake where you were." We were fine. Um, but there was definitely something in the air. And the more I looked into it, the more I could feel this not only shift, but a quick shift that's going to be taking place in our reality from June until January of next year. Like I said, we're only hitting the second half of 2025. And when I remote viewed 2025 way back when, it stood out to me. It stood out as a make it or break it year. It stood out as like 2020 stood out to me. 2020 will always stand out to us. You mentioned the year 2020 to anybody, and they're going to know exactly what you're talking about because it affected all of us, right?
Mhm.
Well, 2025, the energy that I was picking up still felt like, oh, it's going to affect all of us. So I still think that there could be some global shifts that affect all of us. You know, you think you're safe in Australia, or you think you're safe in, I don't know, Milan. You're not, it affects all of us. When something's
Global.
global, there's nowhere to run. And that was a horrible feeling that I had to deal with during 2020. Was like, I just want to run. I just want to run. I just want to get out of this energy. And there was nowhere to go. That was a really weird pill to swallow. Trying to get used to that. You know, there was literally nowhere to hide. There's
Okay.
something about 2025 that still has not gone down, hasn't happened yet. So now, what Spirit also showed me is that there's prayer warriors out there for a reason. And I believe that the power of prayer can shift timelines. So
Mhm.
here's the thing. I got to tell you this, and then we'll get back to astrology. So I dragged my husband to every ancient church that I could find. Dragged him to
Poor
everywhere.
man.
How to get holy water. I went to a place called Ancient Ephesus where Mother Mary's house was, and I was able to actually do a walkthrough on the tour of Mother Mary's house and where she died, and then get holy water from her spring. And I'm not Catholic, but they were all Catholic churches. I don't care. I'll go pray anywhere, right? It doesn't matter to me where it is. I'll pray on the toilet even. God's everywhere. He's always listening. But it's always nice to do it in the house of the Lord, or to do it in a sacred place, because I know that those churches that were built so many years ago, they're built on ley lines. They're built on magical vortexes within, the Earth's magnetic grid that make prayer more powerful, intentions more
Mhm.
powerful, easier to be heard, easier to come true. I don't know how to say it, but it's just places that I just you can really feel that energy, right? So when I was there, I was meditating and going, okay, why would someone want to become a priest or a nun? You know, I sat with that a lot, and I meditated on that a lot. Why would someone, what would call to someone to give their whole life to God, to give their whole life to prayer and to be of service? And what came to me are, they have their own unique vibrational frequency. Their prayers are absolutely heard, especially the ones where they're from the heart and they radiate with God's light and kindness. I did see that. I saw that at the Catholic Church. I saw that in their eyes. And their work is so important. It's almost like one of the highest callings that you could have, is to have a life of service, and one where you are representing the light of God every day as a pillar. They are a vibrational frequency, right? And if there's enough people with the new earth vibrational frequency, guess where we're going? Guess where we're going? We're going to see new earth entertainment. We are going to see new earth collaborations. We are going to see technology that will actually heal us, that isn't suppressed from us. Remember I mentioned to you when I was remote viewing one day, I said, "Oh, they're coming out with smart clothes. How cool is that?" I think I mentioned that to you.
Remember that. I
Body
remember that.
regulating smart clothes where you, with the click of a button it's cooling you down, or with the click of a button it's warming you up if you're in minus 30. Oh yeah, they're coming out with that, people. I don't know who's got the idea, but I remote viewed it and it's out there. Someone's gonna do it. I saw it, so it will be a thing. But we are moving towards a new earth, and the people of the cloth, it's almost like they're the pillars of it. They're like a gateway for us to discover our own divinity, because if they weren't there to hold up the church, we would have no church to pray in. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking religion, people. Don't mistake that. Like I said, I'll go pray anywhere. But we need people to carry that kind of light so that we can keep spreading it to the darkest places of humanity, so that we can shift. Because if I shift and I help to shift another person, they help to shift another person, they shift. It's We're living in a world of 6 degrees of separation. Facebook taught us that back in 2007, you know? So if social media, if that's the power of social media, that's the power of our light that we can spread out there. And so here's the thing. I used to almost be scared of 2025. I'm going to be honest. I was scared of 2025 when I was remote viewing it and tuning into it. But I'm kind of excited about this new earth energy that is coming in. It feels like, okay, the gates have been opened now. And for the ones who are ready, they're walking through it, they're running through it. And one of the things, I did a lot of meditating when I was there, but one of the things that was shown to me was the people that woke up between 2009 to 2016, because that was a really tough time for a lot of people. And you know what? That for me was my awakening, was in 2011 when I got into this and changed my career. Um, that changed my life. Totally, totally changed my life. But for people who had that awakening, my message to you is have patience with the ones that are waking up now. They may ask questions that are irritating, or you should know that, or oh, this is old news, or no, enlighten them anyways. Tell them your stories about how you have grown, and to know yourself in that deeper way through spirituality or through meditation or whatever it was that opened you up to the divinity that you are. We have to start sharing our messages more and more, because there's a lot of people that are still going through the darkness like you wouldn't believe right now. They're going through it. They're the ones that the darkness, as much as it sucks, it serves a purpose. We live in the world of duality. So what do we got?
We
What do we
do. We
expect, right?
do.
And humanity, for some messed up reason, likes to always learn the hard way. You know, it's not until we get caught that we stop doing something we shouldn't have been doing. So I just think that there's a lot of people that are going to be waking up in these next few years, that 2020 was the beginning of it. So if it was 2009 to 2016, theirs is, we'll say 2019 all the way up to 2026, 2027, because it's usually a 7 to 10 year chapter that someone goes through that. And it's, for me, it was the good 7 to 10 years for me that it took me to wake up. I was a little stubborn with that one. But I just think that we are literally in such a time of fast and mass ascension.
Mhm.
The other thing that I wanted to say that I've noticed is a lot more deaths happening right now. So if you're watching this and you've had a loved one pass, please understand they graduated their job, they graduated, they got to retire from their job. There's way more blessings when we are out of this stupid meat suit that hurts, right? It hurts. It feels all the yucky stuff in this reality. I can't wait to take my meat suit off when I graduate, honestly. And that's the way we have to look at it. And I wish I had known that years ago when I grieved my parents, especially my dad. It took me eons to get over his death, to stop crying. I wish I knew that, because now it's like, oh my God, good for you. I'll see you there. I'll see you there, bud. I'm only, maybe 40 more years behind, but still, I know I'll see you again. That's what faith has given me. That's what my
For
job has
most
given me. That's
people,
what my wake up has given me.
they're looking at their loved one dying as that person being dead.
Yeah.
You and I are looking at it as that person's not here with us anymore. It's like they're in Europe. They're
Yeah.
doing something else in another place we can't get to right now, but
Yeah.
they're just as alive as they've always been. And that's a very, very different way of grieving those two things. Yeah.
Well, it's a knowingness, right? Knowing that they're still there. And I got to say, the gift of mediumship, you can have a chat with them. They're literally just a thought away. When you're out of your body, you literally travel at the speed of thought. You think of something and you're there. And so it's literally just a thought of your loved one and they'll be right beside you. And so start asking for signs. If you've recently lost a loved one, my heart really goes out to you, because it unless you've lost someone you love, you can't even put it into words. So I get it. But please know that they literally are a whisper away. They are a thought away. Ask them for signs, ask them for messages. You'll start getting them all over the place. They'll hit you over the
You'll
head
start
with
getting
it.
them.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say, I don't know who's ever listening to this, if you are aware of the work of Michael Newton and Life Between Lives.
He's great.
But he has written several books, especially Destiny of Souls and Journey of Souls.
Hmm.
And he has written them by taking people past death into the other side. He was not regressing them to another life. He was regressing them to what they were experiencing at the point of death.
Hmm.
And they're just as alive as they always were.
Yeah.
And our grief, our pain at losing them, often ties them to the earth
It
because the
can, yeah.
love doesn't stop. Whether their body is here or not, the love is still there. And when someone you love is in pain, you want to comfort them. You
Hmm.
want to help them. You want to ease their suffering. And that's true for the loved ones on the other side.
Hmm.
So they are doing their best to comfort us. And I could always tell when my mother died, when she was coming to comfort me, because I just know she was there with me. But then I would start crying again because I'd feel my mother with me. So
Yeah.
it's a little mixed up. It's not very clear cut in those lines, but read those books if you have a chance to get them. They've been out a while, so I'm thinking they shouldn't be too expensive, but it does help you understand the journey your loved one is on.
Yes.
Because yes, their body may not be here, but think about this. Their death in this life is their birth into the other side.
100%.
And I did have a client ask me something, this was years ago, that I had never thought about. And she said, can you do a birth chart for the point of my mother's death and look at her birth into the other side? Which
Wow.
floored me. I had never thought about doing that.
That's amazing. And it worked?
And it worked. And
Wow.
I don't put it on my website and I don't advertise this
Yeah.
because it's sort of like on a one-on-one basis, if this would actually help them kind of thing.
Mm.
Because, I'm not sure I want to make that hanging out my shingle for that. It can be an emotional thing. But a few clients over the years have done that because it helps them process their grief. It helps them understand their loved one. It helps them understand the process of what's going on because
Exactly.
our grief is for us.
Yeah.
They're fine. We're the ones struggling.
Yeah. So right.
So
So
yeah, so I loved reading his books and I went through an LBL experience myself, which I've talked about from time to time. So yeah, we are going to see a lot of this because it's almost like I see things going like this, like everything is getting more extreme. It's
yes.
not just black and white and a lot of shades of gray. It's black and it's white, it's up and it's down. It's everything is much more clear cut. You're with me or you're against me.
Yeah.
It's right or it's wrong. It's things are just it's like centrifugal force and everything's going to the outer edges. So in the United States, I have said I think the first 6 months for our country is harder than the second 6 months for us.
Oh,
But for Canada, I think it's just the opposite. I agree with you. I think the second 6 months are a little bit tougher for Canada than the first 6 months. But I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but in different timelines a little bit, we're still experiencing the same things.
mm-hmm.
We're still having to go through this. And it's not just Canada and the US, the world is going through
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
We're seeing lots of things happen, lots of major changes.
Mhm.
And for those of you who have just given up in watching the news, and I'm going to say I totally get that because I can't watch the news anymore.
Me
I
neither.
understand that. But I'm going to say find a trusted source
Yeah.
that can give you real factual information that is not designed to trigger you or get you on one side or the other.
Yeah.
It's fine to not be part of that engaged with the television or whatever, but
Hmm.
find some place where you still know what's going on in the world.
Hmm.
You're still aware. It's don't stick your head in the sand. Don't ignore that because it's difficult or uncomfortable. Just find a way where you can have some sort of information that seems real.
Yeah.
Because nowadays between Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and conspiracy theories and oh my God, it's just insane.
You don't know what's real or not. Like even with AI, how they can, take someone's face and make a whole, movie where it looks like it's actually you. Like it's insane to me what AI, how quickly it's growing. And I have to say, I keep hearing, I wonder if this is in the US as well, but I keep hearing people saying that they are absolutely addicted to their chat GBT and that they use
Oh,
it for everything. And, you know, I just, I don't know. I think that I know this is going to sound really out there, but I think that there is a sentience to AI. So we really
no.
do need to be careful how we use it because the computer is just the medium. It's just the message holder. But where is the message coming from? What is the intelligence behind the message? Who's actually determining what information you are supposed to know? And I know that people don't think that way, right? But mediumship, it's meeting in the middle. Spirit brings down their energy enough, I raise mine enough, and all of a sudden I can see and hear what they're trying to say. Well, the computer is the medium, but where is that sentient message coming from? Who's deciding to say it to you when it's being said? Because I mean, this AI thing is it's getting really real where I just saw, and I mean again, is it real or not? But AI boyfriend. He can treat
Oh
you
my
better
God.
than a real one. It's like, oh my God, are you kidding me? He's there for you 24/7. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
I love it.
Honestly. But I just so for me, I sit back and just go, where's that sentience coming from? I don't know how to use it myself personally, but it is the wave of the future. So I guess I should get on that and learn it. But anyway,
Well,
it's funny.
remember, I'm in my 70s, and so I didn't grow up with any of this stuff. And I'm not against technology, but it does intimidate me.
Yeah, it
And
intimidates me
and
too.
I'm perfectly fine when somebody's explaining something. I'm like, talk down to me. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Make it very, very simple. And I
But I
told
think
you
there's
I bought this new car in January,
oh yeah,
and I was stopped at a stoplight, and this red flashing light went off on my dashboard for beep, 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 and then it went away. And I looked in the manual, I looked online, I couldn't find anything about what this meant. So I had to call up the dealership, like, should I be worried about this? This red light went
yeah,
off.
yeah,
And he's like, no, I think that was telling you, like a warning that you were going to crash. I was like, I was stopped at a stoplight. Like, I don't know what I could have crashed into unless
yeah.
I got out and pushed the car into something. And he said, well, did a car go in front of you? And I said, yes. He said, that was the car. That was what it was telling you. And
Sensing.
I just got so frustrated. I said, I'm not smart enough to drive this car. And the guy started laughing. So technology
Yeah,
is growing faster sometimes than
mhm,
our ability to keep up with it.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
sadly, this is not going to get better. It's going to keep escalating. It's going to keep, squaring itself and becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and more and more and more.
You know what? Speaking of that, I actually have it written down that there's going to be big layoffs due to AI. They're they're I don't know, they're bringing in systems where you're going to hear of massive layoffs in I think in like possibly aviation, um, government, things that used to need us bodies to make it
You're
work.
pretty secure.
Yeah, they don't need us anymore. So I think that there's going to be layoffs. So yeah, I that's another thing that yeah,
I mean, I'm hoping our jobs are secure because computers and AI can give you the information,
yeah.
but we have the intuitive connection. And I remember years ago, a friend of mine sent away to get her astrology chart interpreted.
Mhm.
And it was not a lot of money, like 20 bucks or something. And she got this 40-page printout of what this was doing. She was so excited. And she was reading it. And she was reading something about her moon in Scorpio. And it said, well, you can carry a grudge for forever and be very vengeful. And you have to be very careful about, violence and underhanded activities. And
Mhm.
my friend was like, gee, I thought I was such a nice person. Like, she was just like, this doesn't
Yeah.
sound at all like me.
Yeah.
So we can get the information from a report, but
Yeah.
it's going to be two-dimensional. If you want to understand something at a higher level, thankfully, right now our
It
jobs are
can.
secure.
Yeah,
But
totally.
yes, we're going to have a lot more going on. So be prepared.
Mm.
That June, I know the end of June, beginning of July is like the 6-month cutoff, but we're going to start feeling this in June. We are just going to start feeling different. We're
Yes.
going to start noticing new feelings coming in. We may
Already
not
coming in.
understand them.
Yeah, it's already coming in.
And so at the beginning, we have a full moon on June 11th, and it is going to be in Sagittarius because the sun is in Gemini, the moon is in Sagittarius. They're going to oppose each other. That's when we get a full moon. And so that is all about information. So
Mm.
be aware there may be some kind of announcement. Remember when I said about 3 days before and a couple of days after?
Yeah.
So it's like June 8th through maybe June 13th. There may be hidden information coming to light. There may be reports that were suppressed that we start to become aware of. There
Mhm.
may be announcements made. There may be faux pas made by politicians because Sagittarius is very blunt. They're not known for their tactfulness. And they're like, well, yes, I cheated, but I declared the corruption on my taxes, so I should be okay. Like
Yeah.
stuff they're saying before they realize, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of thing. So, and on a personal level, this is where we may blurt something out,
Hmm.
like, well, the reason that diet isn't working is because you're having ice cream for breakfast. It just sort of comes out of our mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it can help you if you are scared of public speaking. It can help you if you want to teach a class, write a book, write an article, work with social media, design a new website. It's wonderful for all the different mediums of communication, but it can also be impulsive, a little tactless.
Mhm.
Like we can spend the rest of the month pulling that foot out of our mouth. So just be careful. And it's a restless energy. So during that period of time, we're going to tend to get a little more bored than usual. I want to do something. I want to go somewhere. I'm bored. We may be like a 10-year-old in summer vacation. And my mother used to always say, well, you can clean your room and do the dishes. Well, I don't want to do that, kind of thing.
That
So
totally sounds like my childhood.
that's it. That's how we grew up.
Yeah.
So be aware of that. It's a lovely energy, engaging and bright and social, but like any sign, it's got its upside and its downside. And then towards the end of the month, on the 25th, on June 25th, is when we get our new moon. And we
Mm.
get our new moon in Cancer at 4 degrees Cancer. So that's when the sun and the moon are in the same sign and they come together. So it's like a double dose of that energy. Now,
Okay.
because both Canada and the United States are Cancer countries, we may see something happening politically in both of our countries.
Mm.
Now,
Okay.
I'm not sure what, but when that's your sun sign, there may be some changes. There may be some announcements. There may, be some things that are happening on the national level, but on the personal level, we may sign up for cooking classes. We may decide to redecorate. Cancer likes being home. They
Mm.
want to nest a little bit. So you may just be home going, no, I don't want to go out.
Mm.
The full moon, they want to go out. You want to see your friends, you want to go, you want to do, but around that new moon on the 25th, you want to stay home. It's like, no, you go without me. I'm going to stay here. We want to nest a little bit. And we look around and we say, I need new drapes, or that rug needs to be replaced,
Yeah.
or, things that make us feel good in our home.
Hmm.
We may hear from parents or grandparents or kids. We may have the kids call up and say, I just lost my job. Can I come home and live with you until I get back on my feet?
Wow. Yeah.
You know, so we may
Oh,
see, I don't know what grocery prices are like in Canada, but in the United States, they're going up.
they're bad. It's pretty bad here. It's been like that though since 2020. It's almost like the greedy grocers were like, "Ooh, there's a reason for us to inflate the crap out of prices for the next 10 years instead of just 1 year." Yeah, because it's been since 2020. We haven't recuperated. Nothing's gone down. It's just gone straight up.
Well, remember what I said about Cancer rules food, Jupiter rules expansion.
Oh,
Between June and December, we're going to see grocery prices skyrocket. So
ugh.
what I keep saying over and over, I know y'all are sick of this, but I'm like,
Mm.
go and buy things that are big ticket items are expensive. Here it's toilet paper.
Yeah.
It's toilet paper. How expensive can it be? It's the biggest expensive item in the cart.
Yeah.
Laundry detergent, coffee. What are the more expensive things you get? Start to buy them now because the prices are not going to come down in the next few months.
Yeah.
Um, one of the things, I don't know if you get this, Patricia, but one of the things I'm telling people to buy is batteries because I think we may have some sort of little power outages or something that we need lanterns or don't have power. Are you getting anything like that?
Okay, well, it's really weird that you mentioned batteries because okay, so two reasons why I'm like, "Ooh, batteries," and I got to talk to you about that. So when energy is shifting, when there is, I don't know, more electricity in the air, and I wanted to bring that up about the electricity in the air. So thank you for this. Um, uh, Batteries drain like this. So I went to the Colosseum when I was in Rome. Oh my God, that place is so flippin' haunted and such a drain that like I hadn't even entered the actual halls of it yet, hadn't entered the entrance. My legs started killing me. I had shooting nerve pain, like I couldn't believe, right up to my hips. Both my legs swelled up, got really red. My feet got red. Like it looked horrible. My legs were horrible just from walking on the energy of that place. And then my batteries drained. My phone drained and my backup battery because I wanted to go live from the place. Yeah, both of them were dead. And so I was only able to go live for a few minutes before, everything was drained. Um, so I meditated on that and went, okay, is it just this place?
Mhm.
Because when I got home, um, we had four clocks all upstairs dead. And two of them were batteries that we had just changed maybe 2 months ago. So it just really, really, really weird. So it piqued my
Yeah.
interest. So I meditated about it. And what I saw was, yeah, the energy is shifting big time, and there is way more electric energy, and we are bioelectric and electromagnetic beings. So, of course, it will affect us. So, I was going, okay, well, how does that equate into what I'm feeling, or how would I feel if there's more static in the air? Well, your hair, has your hair been more staticky? Have you been shocking more people? Have you been draining your batteries? How's your watch battery? Are you draining it? Because there are certain times in the year, or I don't know, in evolution, where the energy shifts, and of course it is going to do things like knock out the grid, like the Carrington event. I think it was 1987 that happened. Do you remember that, the Carrington event?
No, it's not ringing a bell.
Well, it was when there was a major solar flare and it knocked out all of the grids, like it knocked out the energy grids. And
I'm thinking of Spain and Portugal from this year.
yeah, I know, right? I know. So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of electricity in the air that I don't know, we're not, and maybe I'm not even describing it right. I'm just trying to describe how it came across to me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's definitely like there's more of a charge in the air
Good way to put it.
there wasn't before, right? So yeah, if you got malfunctioning stoves or your car is on the fritz, the electrical, like it could be, I don't know, it could have something to do with that because it brought to my attention. So the minute you said batteries, I was like, oh, okay, not
So have some
exactly what you were
flashlights, have
saying,
some
but
lanterns, have
yeah,
some batteries. You
yeah,
know, it's not going to help your oven or your refrigerator, but it may help you, with a flashlight or a lantern if something goes out. Have some cash on hand for just in
yes.
case, you
Oh,
know.
yes, because look at what happened in Spain. I actually had two clients that were in the middle of it when it happened. And she goes, the craziest thing was there was no bank machines, no cell phones that worked, nothing. It was complete black. And yeah, she goes, what do you do if I didn't have cash on me? And she always carries cash with her, she said, whenever she travels. So thank God she had cash on her because, yeah, there was no bank machines that worked or anything.
Think
Bank
about
machines
trying
are
to
just
fill up your car
digital
with
money.
gas.
Pardon?
You think about trying to fill your car up with gas.
I know.
Think
Yeah.
about trying to buy groceries at the grocery store.
Yeah, you can't.
Think about how dependent we are
Yeah.
on using that little card.
Yeah. Big time. It's terrible.
So I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying just
Well, it just,
prepare.
when I look at the whole of what you're talking about, it makes me wonder, are more grids going to go down? Are we going to see that? Because I'm telling you, I can feel more of a charge in the air than I think I've ever felt in my life. And it's not just here, because that actually came to my attention when I was in Rome.
Mhm.
So it's
It's
everywhere,
all over.
everywhere.
This is worldwide.
And how we're going to show up, how we're going to react to it matters the most. Are we going to feed into that explosive energy? Because if we were to equate that energy into emotional energy, because emotions are energy in motion, right?
Hmm.
It would be sparky. It would be sticking your foot in your mouth and saying stuff that you can't take back, just like you described. So I don't know. I think you're bang
Absolutely.
on about what you said in June because it's happening. It's happening now, and we're just at the tail end of May when we're recording this. I don't even know the date today. What is it? The 26th, 27th, something like
Yeah.
27th,
Today's the
I think, of May.
27th, I think.
Yeah. So it's not
And
even June.
Saturn just moved into Aries yesterday. Most of the people that are watching your podcast are sensitive people.
Hmm.
And
Absolutely.
people who are sensitive are going to pick up this energy earlier than the exact date. So when I say it's going to shift on June 10th, most of the people watching this are already there. They're like, oh, I've been feeling that for a couple of weeks. They're already ahead of that curve.
Yeah.
So be aware
Mm.
as you start to move into this, as you start to feel this, it's everybody else is doing the same thing. We're aware of all this is going to happen. Now, I'm also going to say one last thing. I know we're almost out of time, but this June, Mars is spending the first half of the month in Leo and the second half of the month in Virgo.
Oh.
And so if you're a fire sign, if you are a Sagittarius, if you are a Leo, if you are an Aries, you're really going to enjoy this first half of the month, because you've got this Mars energy just like blowing you kisses, and saying, here, have a big cup of energy. So they're going, they're doing, they feel confident, they're ready to attack things. But then it's going to leave on the 18th. So if you're a fire sign, do whatever you need to do the first half of the month.
Hmm.
But then the second half, it's going to move into an earth sign. It's going to move into Virgo. And so Taurus, you know, Virgo, Capricorn, they're the ones who are going to get the nice boost. So in
Mm.
the second half of the month, all of the earth signs are like, oh, I can do this. I can do that. Let me go here. Let me do this. Let me engage with this. Let me figure this out. So, and Virgo is all about having a plan. Virgo loves to make a list, loves to have a plan. So we're going to see a lot more people sort of saying, okay, how do I deal with this? What am I looking at? What do I want to do in terms of my body? Because Virgo is about our physical health. So you may join the gym. You may give up sugar. You may have your cataracts taken care of. You may have a procedure of some sort. because Virgo is all about health and well-being.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's going to be a big shift because Leo is sort of big and bright and out there, where Virgo is much more humble. You know, Leo is look at me and Virgo is, oh, it was nothing. So
Good way of describing it.
big shift. But we're going to experience two very different energies from the beginning of the month till the end of the month. And wherever Mars happens to fall in your chart, you're going to notice this shift the most. Now, I just finished, and I mean like today, I just finished writing all the predictions for the new signs for June.
Wow.
And so they should be posted by tomorrow. So be sure to check out the website, Explore Astrology, and see what June holds for your sign.
Yeah.
Are you excited? Are you like, oh, I better, get a lantern like Susan told me or whatever?
Yeah.
But this is where we start to see the changes. And we start to realize, oh, other people are feeling what I'm feeling, even if we can't quite articulate it. The energy is out there, and
Hmm.
it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger the rest of the year.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Things are shifting, people's minds are opening, hearts are opening, and they're realizing that we are so much more than this 3D reality. I wanted to say one thing that, because as much as I really do live in the world of miracles, I see it every day. I see it in my readings that I predict, and then things come true, and I see the results, right? But sometimes I still like to challenge spirit in my own way, right? So as as I think I mentioned to you that I started a TikTok channel. Well, I know nothing about TikTok. I don't know how to make a bloody video to save my life, but I've been trying. And so I kept hearing, you got to get back on TikTok. And because I hadn't posted anything. And I thought, well, what am I going to post? What am I going to talk about? Because I talk a lot about a lot of things on YouTube and I don't want to repeat myself on TikTok, right? And then all of a sudden, I heard TikTok target practice, remote viewing target practice. So I decided to make a video. And I made it into two parts because one is the, okay, this is you tuning in. And then part two is the big reveal, right? Well, people's attention span, I got to do it all in one video. I figured out. But here's the funniest thing. So I made the part one and I made the part two. I prayed over the part one and I said, okay, big guy, if I'm hearing this correctly, I want to see the numbers on this particular video. This particular video. I want to see that people are actually responding to it. It's it's now got 26,000 views on it. And what's ironic is I made one, two, three, four of them all together now. And the other ones, I mean, they're not doing bad. I have like 600 people on my TikTok channel that follow me. Like I just started it, right? But anyways, the other ones are at like 3,000 views, 2,000 views. But the one I prayed over, the one I challenged the universe about and said, this is the one. You better show me on this one. It happened within 2 days. It just blew up and I was like, oh my God. And then people started contacting me off of TikTok, asking about how they can learn from me and stuff. So I'm glad I listened. So here's the thing, you guys, the veil is super thin. Challenge spirit, challenge them. If you're real, I want to see a blue butterfly, but then keep your bloody eyes open and look for it, because ask and ye shall receive. I cannot express enough how much that is the magic words to manifesting. It is. We got to ask and we got to be in alignment. We got to be having our eyes open so that we can see the miracles that we've asked for manifesting. So, anyways, I just wanted to end off
Love it.
with
I
that
love it.
because you guys, it's time to get manifesting. Oh, and I have to say, if you're in Calgary, June 7th, I'm doing an amazing collaboration with she's actually, I believe, a human angel, totally.
Wow.
Her name is Jessica Arnott. We're doing this huge healing sound collaboration at the Inglewood Community Hall, June 7th from 7 to 9. We're going to have 100 people meditating for peace. And for
Love it.
that big shift, we are going to do some serious activations in that meditation. So if you guys are from Calgary, join me June 7th at the community Inglewood Community Center. You can sign up through Jessica's website at vibehigh.ca. I also have a link to it on my website, patriciamona.com. And I also have other classes and stuff too. I want to see 100 people there meditating on peace. Like we can move mountains together when you have 100 people in the room vibing together with peace and healing. Oh my God. We've done it once before. We actually had over 100 people. It was amazing. Most juicy, amazing, angelic energy you've ever experienced. So definitely come out June 7th if you can. Okay.
Okay.
And anything else you wanted to say?
No, it's going to be a busy month. It's going to be an active month, and it's going to kick off active months going forward. But you know what? Active is not bad. Active is exciting. I'm looking forward to what's coming June through November, December kind of thing. So you look forward to it too, because a lot of you are already there. You are already in the energy.
Mhm. Oh my goodness. Thank you for that beautiful message, Susan. It has once again been my pleasure to be able to host you monthly on my channel. I love it, and so does everyone who watches it. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, my dear, and we'll see you in July.
All right. I'm glad to be here. And in July, we'll talk about June. Cannot wait for that conversation.
Yes.
Take care. Bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye for now.